Half Pig Kitchen, where we're doing quarantine cuisine. Today, day whatever this is of quarantine, we spent most of the day outside because the sun is finally shining here in Knoxville. After a night of storms last night and lots of rain, we got up to the sun shining this morning. The temperatures are beautiful. We've been outside looking at everything that's new, fresh green, that's blooming pink and white and yellow, and just Mother Nature's putting on such a awesome show for us while we're having to stay inside and not do much. So get outside when you can. The sunshine's good for you, even if it's just good for your spirit. So what I've been hearing that is out a lot at the grocery stores, of course, are all of our convenience items that we're used to buying and not having to make at home ourselves. Because we stopped making our own bread products a lot of years ago. And that's one of the things that's gone a lot evidently in the grocery stores right now, or the breads, the buns, the muffins, the bagels, the tortillas, the flatbreads, the pita breads, the donuts, all of our bread products that we usually depend on the stores for instead of making them ourselves. But most bread products are actually pretty freaking easy to make. We're going to make tortillas this evening because we're going to have a really simple dinner tonight because we've been playing outside all day today. And tortillas are going to be part of it. And you'd be surprised how easy it is to make your very own tortillas. People in Latin America do this every day for their family. They get up in the morning, they make a big batch of tortillas that get eaten through the course of the day. And it's just a staple for them. It's not difficult, and I'm about to show you how. And you should have most of the stuff at home to be able to do this. So this could be a fun experiment for you. What I am going to do while I'm mixing up, I'm going to be cooking my tortillas in my handy dandy iron skillet. And I keep this particular iron skillet just for cooking tortillas and flatbreads and stuff. And I'm using a dry skillet. Of course, my skillet is nice and seasoned, so things don't stick to it anyway. It's been used for a lot of years. And while we're mixing up tortillas, I'm going to have my flame down pretty low, almost as low as it will go, to heat up my skillet, because your skillet needs to be pretty warm, and a cast iron skillet, part of the beauty of it, the way it radiates heat and cooks so well, is it takes a little while for it to hook up. Oh my, where'd that come from? To heat up. Woo! Our skillet's heating up, it's not hooking up. So let's get on with this. I'm going to make the tortillas the way I do. I thought about this before we started this and thought this may be difficult because I don't measure much when I cook these because I've done them for so long. But I'm going to do my best to do some measuring for you guys, and you can let me know how it turns out. So these tortillas are going to mostly be flour tortillas. I do put a little bit of cornmeal in mine because I like just a little bit of that cornmeal texture in there, but yet a flour tortilla holds together a little bit better than a corn tortilla does. So what we're going to be using is all-purpose flour. And if you've got whole wheat flour at home, that's going to work just as well. Somebody, I'm sure somewhere, is going to say, what do I do for a gluten-free option? I'm sorry, I can't really help you out on that because we don't have gluten sensitivities here in our house, so I am not well versed at gluten-free cooking and baking. Sorry about that. So we're going with the people that can tolerate gluten, or if you've got some sort of gluten-free flour at home, give it a try and let me know how it works for tortillas. It may work just fine. Anyway, here's 1.5 cups. And you say I'm not measuring real precisely, and the beauty of tortillas is you really don't have to. So that's about 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. And here's my cornmeal. I keep a big bag in the freezer. It keeps it fresh for me. And I'm going to round out my 2 cups. If you don't have cornmeal or you don't want to use cornmeal in yours, 2 cups of flour, straight up, 2 cups of flour. But what I used instead was 1.5 cups of flour and 1/2 cup of cornmeal. Now I'm going to do a sprinkle. I said I was going to measure, didn't I? Let's measure. I'm going to do about 2 teaspoons of sugar. Right, 2 teaspoons of sugar. And then I'm going to do about a teaspoon. Actually, this is going to be a heaping teaspoon because you know I'm a salty gal. I like salt. And a little bit more. Salt. Now, let's give that a stir. That's a real simple mixture. Give that a stir. You need some liquid fat. This can be anything. Traditionally, this would be lard. This would be pig fat. Your vegetable oil, your coconut oil. This is coconut oil. This happens to be liquid coconut oil instead of the solid kind. And again, I don't measure very often, so this is a bit of a challenge for me too. But I'm thinking that's 1 tablespoon. I think 4. Let's say 4 tablespoons of oil. Because, yeah, tortillas have a little bit of grease in them. 4 tablespoons is also a 1/4 cup, for those of you high math experts out there. And I have a cup of water. We're going to see how much I actually need. I'm going to start out by pouring about a 1/2 cup. There we go, in there. And I'm going to give it a stir. So what we're going to want is a fairly stiff batter, but one that will hold together. You know, when you squeeze it, it holds together. It's not real crumbly. That is still, I'll let you kind of see it if you can. That's still pretty crumbly and dry in there. So I'm going to add a little bit more of this water. There's about a 1/4 cup left in there. So I've used about 3/4 of a cup of water here. Let's see how that comes together. I think that's going to do the trick. And the beauty of this dough too, because it's got that oil in it, doesn't stick to your hand too badly. And I'm going to show you how I kind of knead and mix at the same time. I take the whole mess, flip it over, mash it with my fist a couple times, grab it, flip it over again, mash it with your fist a couple of times, and it's going to come together pretty nicely. It's a fairly soft dough. It's not going to be real super stiff like a yeast dough, yeast bread might be. This is a pretty soft dough. So I'm going to let you see kind of what that looks like. So it's still, you kind of have to knead it. You have to work with it a little bit to really get it to come together nicely. And if it's still a little bit sticky and you're uncomfortable with it, you can always add a little bit more flour to it. But I'll tell you a secret. We're going to use some more flour when we're rolling these little tortillas out. And sometimes that will soak up your extra liquid too. So that's looking pretty good, actually. I'm going to kind of knead it like I do my bread dough a little. It is kind of sticky. I will put just a little bit extra flour on there, just a sprinkle. And again, I'm going to mash it, flip it, mash it, flip it, mash it, flip it. All right. Now, that's really feeling good now. Nice soft dough. And that's really one of the biggest tricks of bread baking. It's not so much the recipe. It's not always any particularly fancy ingredients. It's knowing what bread dough should feel like. Knowing what a soft dough feels like, a firm dough feels like. And like I've told most people that have asked about bread baking, your best breads come from a dough that is just short of infuriating to work with. So when you are able to find that perfect soft dough that you can still work with, you're going to make some beautiful bread items. Okay, we've got this pretty well together. It's a nice soft dough. I'm going to set it right there and show you what else we're going to do here. A lot of people have a tortilla press that makes tortillas often. I don't, because that's just something else that I have to make room in my already crowded pantry for. So I use my handy dandy, this is called a French pin, ones that does not have the little roller things on the end. I like this one a lot. Makes a nice weapon too, doesn't it? All right, sprinkle your work surface with a little flour. Rub a little flour on your rolling pin, and we're going to take a piece. Let's see, if we roll it up in a ball, that's about the size of a ping pong ball or a little smaller than a golf ball. Flatten it out in your hand a little bit. I put it in the flour, flip it over so it's got flour on both sides. A little roll this way, flip it over, a little roll that way. Roll, roll. Mine never come out perfectly circular. shows that they're homemade. Now, I pat the flour off of it. So if they have too much flour on them when you put them in to cook in the skillet, that flour eventually burns in the skillet as you're working your way through several tortillas. So it's just one little tip. So there's a tortilla. Check it out. How quick and easy was that? I'm going to put my rolled out tortillas over here. I'm going to turn my heat up a little bit. That guy's getting nice and warm over there. We're going to make a couple more, and then we're going to cook them. So how's everybody doing today? News-wise, what have I heard today? I'm not sure if I've heard much today. Oh, the big stimulus bill evidently is either passed or is almost passed, that they say they're going to mail us a check and stuff to help us through this, which I think is nice. And do I believe that the politicians are not giving themselves some kind of little backdoor scratch there too? I imagine they are. They're probably figuring out how do we billionaires get to keep being billionaires, but we look like we're being really benevolent to all of the people. So, you know how politicians are. But hopefully everything's going to work out just fine. All right, now we've got 3 tortillas made. Y'all see what I'm doing? I make a ball, pat it out into a little disc, flip it so both sides have flour on it, roll it out. Someone asked me one time, they said, wow, you must have really strong arms if you roll out all your tortillas instead of putting them in a press. I said, no, I don't particularly have super strong arms, but I am interested in how stiff your tortilla dough is if it's that hard for you to roll out. See, this takes no time. Really easy to roll out. And like I said, little women in Latin America will do this and cook it outside on what looks like a big wok over a fire. And they're delicious. And these will turn out delicious too. If you decide to get creative with your tortilla dough, you can add chili powder and garlic powder to them. You could add herbs. You could add some Parmesan cheese. You can make your tortillas taste like whatever you want them to taste like. All right, looks like we got 4 right there, so we'll work with those. Let me rinse my hands off. Okay. Ooh, sounds like my skillet's hot. And here's what I'm going to put my tortillas in when I'm done. Look at this cute little round, and tortillas go in there and stay warm. My friend Celia that made me the spoons also made me this. Isn't that awesome? Let's set that right there. Okay, cooking tortillas. This is hard. Pay attention. Throw it in the skillet. And what it's going to do, sometimes it'll bubble up. Sometimes the steam that's created inside the tortilla will make it bubble up, and it's actually fun to watch. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they just sit there. But you're going to give it, I don't know, a minute or 2. You don't want to walk away from these because they cook quickly and they burn quickly. And I can't really count the number of times that I've set my smoke alarm in my kitchen off while cooking tortillas if I wasn't paying attention. So always a good idea to pay attention to them. So this one, the first ones, it's kind of like your first pancake. The first pancake isn't always the prettiest one that you make. It's kind of the way it is with the tortilla. The first one is the one that tests the temperature of the skillet. Let's see how hot the skillet is. Well, this one hasn't gotten super hot yet, so it's taking a little while. But in the meantime, what else? What other news might I have to share with you guys? I am going to say a hello to David Russell, who chimed in about Big Salad Night last night. Hi, David. I went to school with David. He played football, and he and his wife are just charming, awesome people. So, hey, guys. And how are we doing here? All right. This little guy's getting done. This one's going to be a little bit boring because the skillet's not super duper hot yet. If you don't have an iron skillet, any dry skillet will do. Or if you have, like I have one of those griddles that goes right there on this stove, a griddle will work. Any way that you like cook pancakes, you can do the same thing with tortillas. Oh, here we go. It's getting there now. It's just being slow. It said you've been outside all day. You haven't been in a hurry to do anything, so why would I get in a hurry right now? Okay, this little guy, there he is. He doesn't have a whole lot of character to him because after the skillet gets nice and hot, you'll get these beautiful markings on your tortillas that where it cooks and where it comes in more contact with the skillet. And so let's see if we can get a good one going. And otherwise, I'll tell you what we're going to do with these. That does smell so good. And once you've made homemade tortillas and eaten them, then just like most homemade things, you get kind of spoiled to them. And then you get tortillas at the grocery store and you go, ew, they're like gummy and they don't have very good flavor. That's the only downside of learning to make your own breads, is that commercial breads don't taste as good anymore. Go, little tortilla. What we're going to do this evening, I know eggs have been hard to find at the grocery store some. We're lucky enough to have ducks and chickens, and in the springtime is when everybody lays a lot. So the ducks have been outperforming the chickens of late, so I'm probably going to use mostly duck eggs tonight. But what we're going to do with these is I'm going to scramble some eggs. I'm going to get out some lettuce, probably some cheese. I might even make a little bit of guacamole or have some salsa to go with this. And scrambled eggs, lettuce, cheese, maybe salsa or guacamole. Roll it up. And we're going to have breakfast burritos for dinner. And they'll be delicious. So that's what my family's going to have tonight. How we doing? Yay! You're getting hot. So here's tortillas, folks. That's all there is to it. You can make your very own tortillas in your own house, and your family and friends will be incredibly impressed with you. So let me see if I can get this one to have some color on it. I'll show it to you, and then we're going to sign off. Everybody hang in there. We're going to make it through this. We're strong people. We can do it. And I hope everybody's well. We're well here at my house. Everybody that I've been checking on is well. So we're feeling positive and good about stuff, especially after being outside all day today, looking at all of the new things that are growing. It's a brand new world that's happening out there. So hope everybody's doing all right. Let's see how you're doing. They're being determined not to give me a whole lot of color since I said I wanted a whole lot of color. But anyway, still a beautiful little tortilla. Smells delicious, and this is going to be a great base for some scrambled egg breakfast burritos that we'll be having for dinner tonight. Peace, people. Take care. Hang in there.